number4limo.net. Sonny, I'll see you soon.
Seam heads. Our Giants game day coverage begins now.
It's the mosaic.
So before gloves start popping,
Diving, he makes the catch!
and bats start cracking,
It is gone!
we bring you the voice of Bay Area baseball for the past 29 years.
As I always say, baseball reflects what life is all about.
This is Talkin' Baseball with Marty Laurie
That's what we do. We talk ball.
on KNBR, the sports leader.
And hello, everybody, and good morning, and welcome to Talkin' Baseball on this Sunday morning as we get ready for Game 3 between the Giants and the New York Yankees. It's Sunday baseball. Sandra G. and I are in the Willie McCovey suite. Sandra, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Marty. I'm doing well. It's nice that the fog's kind of burning off a little bit, and it's a beautiful view from the Willie Mac suite.
Boy, a gorgeous day for baseball. You know, I love Sunday baseball. We'll talk about it today with the professor a little bit about Sunday baseball. But it is one of those days of the week you sit back and kind of reflect a little bit on what's going on as we knock off another week of the baseball season. So the Yankees are in town. The Bronx Bombers are here. And last night they do it again to the Giants. The Giants lose at 7-3. For Logan Webb last night, he gave up the usual home run to Aaron Judge, a number 21 for him, a no-doubter.
Oh, yeah. The sound off of his bat is just something unique that I haven't heard for a long, long time. I'm thinking of just like Barry Bonds-esque type stuff, but he's a special player, that Aaron Judge.
464 last night in the first inning, and that was Andres Galarraga territory, the big cat.
Woe said he thinks it hit Pete's Coffee out there in center field.
Woe needs glasses, you know that. Don't tell Woe I said that.
Well,
but
he's probably listening.
I know. He's coming up in a little while. Yeah, but the Yankees they get that lead last night and then put another couple of runs on the board in the third inning, and it looked like it'd be a short night for Logan Webb. And then he pulled it together, as he does, and he gave the Giants 7 good innings last night, kept them in the game. And the Giants crept back in the game. Casey Schmidt got his first home run. He's up here now with Luciano on the disabled list, and he knocked one out and made it 4-2 at that point. The Giants squeezed another run in. Ramos tagged up from second, and we thought he was going to be called out, and that was overturned. And
Well, the Yankees were in the dugout.
yeah.
And they had to come back out.
It was ridiculous. But he clearly tagged up properly. And the point is that Wisely then came up and got another hit. And he's played great. He really has, with Estrada with a bad thumb now.
Yeah.
And Casey Schmidt is up here playing short, and he hit the home run. And then, of course, Wisely gets another hit. He's hitting like high 300 since he's come up. And it was 4-3. And it looked like, hey, this is going to be a good one. Got to the seventh inning. It was exciting. And then the eighth inning started, and Ryan Walker came in and got a couple of easy outs.
Yeah.
And then things started to you bring him out. There's no question. You're in a game. You want to win it. It's a big game, and he gave him a good seventh inning. Then in the eighth inning, it got away. And then you look at the last 4 games, they've only scored 7 runs. And I made a point of this yesterday when you and I talked about it. You know, you had that 1-0 game with the Phillies, and you had the game where they scored the 9th inning run. Then, of course, Friday night, you had the Yankees come in, and then last night as well.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to replace Lamont Wade Jr. in that lineup when I think he was at a 30-some-odd game on base streak. At that point in time, it was the longest streak in the major league. So he's definitely missed in this lineup. But somewhere along the line, the guys are going to have to step it up and be able to get on base and start creating some runs.
Well, the big guys have got to hit, and that's it. I mean, look, Matos has slowed down. He's 7 for 52. Ramos has still got that quick bat, and I've liked it since he's come up. This year, I liked it last year. 22 for his last 79. That's just under 286 right there. Chapman's 4 for his last 29. Bailey 11 for 32. The top of the order last night, and someone pointed this out to me last night, they didn't get a hit. The first 5 in the order. I think they were like 0 for 18. So the Giants have got to do some hitting. And they're going to face a guy today. He's a left-hander, and he's a tough cookie. He's Nestor Cortez. And he's been part of this rotation for a couple of years. He's a lefty. And just to give you a little background on him, we are live on the stream today, by the way. Sandra and I are live. If you go to YouTube, KNBR Livestream, you can get it that way, or Twitch. There's different ways of doing it. But for Cortez, he's 3-4 in the year. He's 29 years old. He's a tough lefty. And listening to George Contos last night, he's like a Johnny Cueto.
Totally. That's what I was going to say.
Right. He twists around and kicks his leg and does all sorts of shenanigans on the mound. So he's 3-4 in the year with a 330 on run average. The whip is 106. Now, the one thing about him, and I said this yesterday on our pregame show, 71 innings pitched in 12 games. That's about 6 a game. 60 hits, good number, and 8 home runs. And when you think about it, well, it's one every game. Well, he gives up 1 home run every game, and they're all to right-handed hitters. So righties hit 228 against them with 8 homers, lefties 209 without a homer. So the righties are going to have to do some damage today. Soler, Flores are going to have, Casali's probably going to catch today. He's got to do some damage here.
Yeah, well, what I'm hearing is good news for the Giants, Marty, because we are heavy with right-handed hitters in the lineup right now. So this could be a good thing and maybe hopefully jumpstart us as a getaway day here on Sunday at the ballpark.
Well, I hope so. Chapman 3 for 14 with a couple of homers against them. Soler's 0 for 2. That's it for everyone who's seen him. So this is going to be an interesting matchup, at least from the Yankees' standpoint today against Cortez. Now, for the Giants, and I've said this so many times, it's Blake Snell. And look, the baby, he had that happening. He had the blister on his foot. He's complained there's no spring training because he signed so late. All these are valid, but the Giants need him, and they need him big today in this Sunday game here. It's going to be a packed house today. Russ Stanley was telling me there's a big crowd today. It's a great giveaway today.
Really
I hope that we'll be able to show it to you. Russ has said he'd bring one up here.
Oh, awesome! Yeah,
and we could show it to you. What is it, Sandra? Explain this.
Today it's the 1-year anniversary of Lamont Wade Jr.'s splash hit, which marked number 100 out there on the Levi's Landing tracker. So they have a really cool bobblehead. It's Lamont Wade Jr., and then it's got the water cannons, and you can put water in it, and it squirts the water out on top of the water cannon. So it's a really cool giveaway. If you don't have tickets yet, I think there's still some available. Come and get your bobblehead. It's really
cool. All right. Well, hopefully Russ will bring one up so we could show it on the live stream today. All right. But it's Blake Snell on the hill. And, listen, he's a tough lefty. The arm is there. He bounced those curveballs. Lefties don't hit him at all. Still, lefties are hitting 167 against him. Righties 342. So it's the command. He's healthy. The arm is there. The Giants are going to need him. Look, Robbie Ray is going to throw to hitters in a couple of days. And, the All-Star game isn't that far away. We're in June. This is June 2nd, and Robbie Ray is projected for the All-Star break. You get Snell together with Robbie Ray and what the Giants have for a rotation. Good things can happen here. But Snell's got to take that first step. He's got to come out and give you those 5 or 6 innings of command. And he's got a chance to do that today. It's going to be a big crowd. It's Sunday baseball. The weather is beautiful. And I think he's going to have to step up. And as I said for Logan Webb, he stepped up yesterday. Unfortunately, gave up the big home run. And then Verdugo knocked one through the infield there in the 3rd inning to drive in a run. But he did what he had to do. And that's what Snell's got to do today for the Giants. So the numbers for Snell, 0-3 with a 10.42 earned run average, and the whip is 2. But as I say, once he puts it together, you can throw that out, and then we'll see what Blake Snell can do. But if the Giants are going to do something in this playoff situation this year, look, this is game, 60 today, you said?
Today will be 60.
Yeah, they're 29 and 30 right now. If they're going to do something in this playoff situation, and they're very much in it right now, if the season ended today, they've got that number 6 spot. They're sort of tied with the Cubs in that number 6 spot with 30 losses. But, I'll say it again, Atlanta 24 losses, the Padres 29, the Giants 30, the Cardinals 29, the Cubs 30, Washington, they'll never stay in, they're 31, Pittsburgh never stay in, 31, Arizona, where the Giants go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 32, The Reds 33. You got to watch the Reds a little bit because they do have pitching. But the Giants are very much in it, so Snell's a big part of that, and that's my point today. He's got to make things happen. Just to go a little further with Sandra here, Aaron Judge, 2 for 19. Sandra, you see my sheet here. 2 for 19 with a homer against Snell. LeMahieu, 7 for 17. Rizzo, 0 for 4. Stanton, 2 for 13. Torres, 2 for 14. And Verdugo, 1 for 7. So other than LeMahieu, he's handled the Yankees in the past.
Yeah, but I wonder where those kind of stats come from, because you had Stanton was in the National League, Soto was as well, Rizzo was as well. So these could be a little bit older, and I just feel like the Yankees, they are just on a tear right now. So
they are.
They're hot.
They're ready, and he's got to make his pitches today. And that's the big thing for Snell.
Yeah,
all right, but that's what we got.
Limit the walks.
Yeah. Oh, come on.
Limit
for
the
him,
walks.
and don't throw 100 pitches by the fourth inning. But this is it. It's going to be a great day at the ballpark. Look, there are a lot of Yankee fans here. The Giant season ticket holders have probably sold a lot of their tickets to Yankee fans. It's kind of crazy listening to the crowd reactions this weekend. My God, it really sounds almost like a Yankee game.
They've had a lot to cheer about.
Haven't they? Boy, it is. It's enough of them. Enough Yankees already. It's enough. All right. The Giants at home now are 17 and 13. The Yankees on the road are 23 and 11. Now in this homestand that started so promisingly with the first 2 against the Phillies, the Giants are now 2 and 3. And in June, of course, they've lost the first game there. So that's what we got going on. The American League East, that's all the Giants have seen. I said this yesterday. It's really incredible, the schedule. They only saw Boston, Tampa Bay on the road, and the Yankees here of the whole American League. That's it. So we've got a summer where the Giants are going to have to play good ball against the American League.
Yeah, they've
got a lot of American League games.
They're tough, and with the Yankees coming in right now, and I know Phillies are National League, but to say something for the Giants, if they can pull off a win today, that's a pretty good homestand, I think, with the 2 hottest teams in baseball.
Yep. 500 on the homestand, and you're ready for Arizona, struggling a little bit. So down there where the Giants are going to play Arizona, maybe have a little bit of an edge.
Yeah.
Then on to Texas for next weekend, the reunion with Bruce Bochy
Our old pal.
next weekend. So that's a baseball season. Mm-hmm. All right, it's a beautiful day for baseball. The professor will be next right here. What are you looking at, Sandra?
I'm looking at the paddle boarders out on the cove right now.
Oh, beautiful. Wow. It's a great ballpark. This is going to be a good day today. All right, more coming up. The professor next. Ron Wotus right here on the Sports Leader.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
The epitome of luxury and craftsmanship with Inicio Windows and Doors, another exciting product line from BMD Manufacturing. Inicio Windows and Doors sets the standard in ultra-premium European design. Wow. For the most demanding American building standards. Available both in steel and aluminum, they are meticulously engineered to elevate your living space to new heights of sophistication. Learn more about Inicio Windows and Doors today. Discover the perfect blend of European beauty and style with unwavering durability and strength. Visit InicioWindows.com. INICIO Windows.com. Inicio Windows and Doors, where European design meets American craftsmanship. I heard from Gene Bagato, and he said that with summer just around the corner up at the Tides in Bodega Bay, they are getting ready and looking forward to welcoming everyone looking to get away and enjoy the Sonoma coast. In addition to offering the best seafood available in the restaurant, the fish market features a wide array of delicacies, from smoked fish and charcuterie to cheeses, gourmet crackers, and assorted beverages. Everything one needs for a picnic at the beach. Boy, that sounds terrific. And if you're looking to stay a while, the Inn at the Tides with its spacious, updated rooms is there waiting for you. So if you're thinking about planning a summer getaway, not too far from the Bay Area, remember the Tides Wharf and the Inn at the Tides in scenic Bodega Bay. I'll see you there.
Time now to go to Sunday school with the professor.
Hey, Professor, take it easy, will you?
Giants coach Ron Wotus with Marty Laurie.
Oh, I didn't know you wanted to get involved with the discussion, Mr. Helper.
On your home of Giants baseball.
Good answer. Like the way you think.
KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Brought to you by River Islands, one of the country's top-selling master plan communities just across the Altamont in Lathrop. Where else can you live on a lake next door to a park or walking distance to your kid's new school? With 10 new neighborhoods, River Islands is the one place you can't afford to miss.
All right, great to have you back with us as we get ready for baseball today. Game 3 between the Yankees and the Giants. We bring in the professor, Ron Wotus. Well, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Marty. I'm well. How about yourself?
Good. Sandra's here, and we're ready for baseball today.
Morning, Will.
All right. Hi, Sandra. Good morning.
Yeah, I'll tell you something. I've seen enough of Aaron Judge for the weekend. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I think we all have. Boy, is he locked in, huh? He didn't miss those low pitches. And he hit him further than we're used to watching him go. It's been a while since we've seen him hit out there.
Well, how do you deal with a hitter like that? I mean, he covers the plate. Stanton the same way. They're so powerful. They hit everything 115 miles an hour. How do you deal with players like this? Because if you make a mistake over the plate, it's trouble.
Well, that's what makes their lineup so difficult. It's difficult to navigate because you don't just have one guy like that. You have several guys in that lineup, starting with Soto and Judge and Stanton. And, Rizzo's no slouch. We've seen him over the years. Of course, he's on the tail end. But, you usually pitch around a guy like that. You expand the plate, if he's hot. I mean, if he's not hot, pitchers with good stuff are going to attack him and do their thing. Unfortunately, we made some mistakes. He's a down hitter. And he hit him out. I remember Benji Molina when we were playing. He used to talk about the guy we wanted to pitch around, and I really like this. If the plate is whatever, how wide's the plate, Marty? You probably know how wide the plate
17
is.
inches, right?
17 inches, right. So instead of just thinking of the plate as 17 inches, make it 20 inches and, throw, from the outside corner to a ball so you don't leave anything in an area where you can hit it. Easier said than done. He's hot. Sometimes hitters miss those pitches. You throw them right down the middle. You see it every day. But he's locked in, and he's a tough guy. You start walking guys. You start putting guys on base, and then you have Stanton, 2 batters behind him that can hit one out, and now it's a 3-run home run like we saw, which really hurts in a ball game, that 3-run home run, Earl Weaver style.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of things in this series. One, we saw a runner score from second on a pass ball on Friday night. And against the Yankees, you just can't give them extra outs like that.
Well, against anybody, but specifically the Yankees and good teams. We just talked about how, dangerous their lineup is. They don't beat themselves very often, and that's what you strive to do at your own club, is not make mistakes, not give extra outs, because those things, the baseball gods don't like that. They seem to come back to bite you. So we had that, that pass ball or wild pitch, whatever you want to call it, and, guy hustled from some second base, and the throw kicked away from, the pitcher covering, and they got 2 runs on the play. So that was a big play in the game. All the things like we've talked about, they all add up. But, if we can win today, you don't want to get swept. That's the key. Win the game today, get a game back. And, the team has won, I think, 4 or 5 series in a row. That's what you want to do. You're playing a good team, and let's avoid the sweep today.
Hey, Will, what are you seeing from the Giants defensively right now? Because I know there's been a lot of movement in the infield. Tyro's got some issue with his thumb, but what are you seeing from the infield specifically and defensively from the Giants so far this series?
Well, I tell you what, I think the young players have filled in admirably with their play. Wisely's done a fine job at shortstop. He really has. And there was a ball yesterday that led to a couple runs. Backhand play, he was playing dead pull at second base, which is his primary position. He hasn't played a whole lot of short, and that's why I'm impressed by what he's done. He ranged, to the shortstop side backhand and wasn't able to get the runner. But that's a difficult play. That's a hit all the way. He's got good range in the middle. You remember we had Tyra out yesterday, so that didn't help. You have Wade out. That doesn't help. Brooks over at first. He's fine at first base. Him and Flo, they do their thing. Of course, Chapman, he's the original Pac-Man, the vacuum cleaner down there. I mean, the range he has, slow rollers. We've been talking about him all year. So I think the guys have filled in really, really well. You got to remember, Wade, Estrada, Ahmed is on a rehab right now. So that's a great question, Sandra. But all in all, I think, the infield defense has been just fine.
Boy, all right, live at the ballpark here.
Yeah,
You can hear
they're mic testing.
They're mic testing in the background. This is live radio, which we love. Hey, it's Sunday baseball. And I love Sunday baseball, and I was thinking about it as a kid. I went to the games on Sunday. In Brooklyn, in Ebbets Field, we would go on Sunday. When I was in Miami with the International League, I would go to games on Sunday. As a kid, were you a Sunday baseball guy? I don't even think I ever remember going to a game during the week. Really?
Well, yeah, you have other things going on. You either have school, and if you're out of school, you probably have some sort of sporting event to go to. I mean, that's what parents do, and they do it today. I mean, it was either soccer, basketball, or baseball for me. So I don't know. I honestly can't remember if we went. We went to Fenway Park once a year, and that was our big trip to watch professional baseball. It was about an hour and 45-minute drive. And I can't remember if we went on the weekend or not, Marty, but you paint a good picture. I think of you on a Sunday, swantering out to the ballpark, just easy peasy as can be, and enjoying the beauty of the game and the mosaic of the season and watching your team play.
Well, it's funny because, we have this game coming up at Rickwood Field and celebrating the Negro Leagues and, of course, the Birmingham Black Barons. And Bob Kendrick, who is the president of the Negro League Baseball Museum, is going to be with us this morning about 10:30 and talk about it. But he describes what Sunday was like for people going to the game, and it's sort of what I was just talking about. Sunday was the day you went to the game, and the Black Barons outdrew the regular Southern League team, the Birmingham Barons, all the time. And they would go to church, the fans would go to church, and they'd tell the pastor, you better speed it up. We got to get to the game. And that's the way life was in those days. It was a big deal, and we're going to sort of see that again at Rickwood Field when we kind of go there June 20th for the game.
Yeah, it's a great thing that they're doing, and it's a big event. And I wasn't sure if I was going to go or not. But when I heard Bob is his first name, correct?
Right, Bob Kendrick, yeah.
Bob Kendrick, he spoke to the team, about the Hall of Fame and this event. He got me fired up. I mean, this guy can speak. If you get a chance to go to the Negro League Hall of Fame in Kansas City, and Bob's there to take you through, you have to go. I mean, the tidbits he gave us in the clubhouse were I didn't realize, the players couldn't even, they slept on the bus and they ate peanut butter and crackers because they weren't allowed to eat anywhere in the town. And, with all these fans watching them, and then you have to go back on the bus, and they never complained. They did it for the love of the game. And he got me fired up, and it was wonderful listening to him. So this is going to be, historic, obviously, but it's going to be a special game. And hopefully I can get down there to watch it happen. I think you're going, right, Marty?
Yeah,
you're going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sandra, you're going.
Yeah.
Yep, we're both going.
Yeah, this is going to be very special. And, of course, it was where Willie Mays played center field. I mean, Rickwood Field, which is the oldest park in the country, is where Willie Mays played center field. And I said it on the show yesterday. Condoleezza Rice was part of the program Friday night. Her mother was Willie Mays' English teacher in the 9th grade. And,
right.
And her father was the football coach at Fairfield Industrial High School, where Willie went to high school. So there's that connection. But Willie, this is where he played. And, well, let's talk about the statistics that became available this week, it's statistics from the Negro Leagues and from 7 different leagues where they've got the box scores are now going to be considered with the regular statistics that we've been living with for so many years. And it gives numbers to people like Josh Gibson, Cool Papa Bell, Satchel Paige, Turkey Stearns. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think it's good. I mean, look, I think the majority of Americans really don't know a whole heck of a lot about the Negro Leagues and what it was all about and how good these players were. But the guys that you had just mentioned, my goodness, they were something else. So I think, I love history. I love the history of baseball. We're all just passing through. So why not? I think it's a good thing to, give the whole story of how baseball in America has become the national pastime, and they're certainly a big part of it.
Well, and it's so important because they couldn't play because of the color of their skin. It didn't mean they weren't great players. And that's the point. They were great players, and now we have numbers to put next to their name that can compare them to the players, the Ted Williamses and people like that. So it's an important part because these players could play. They played to win. This was not a joke. This was not just entertainment. These folks played to win. And Willie learned how to play as a 17-year-old, as a sophomore in high school. And he was playing with men who played very seriously. And I'm glad that they could get the recognition. So I hope that you get to go and get to see it. I know there are going to be a couple of civil rights tours that week as well. So it's very important to do it. So I hope you get to be there.
Yeah, so do I. So hopefully we can make that happen. And well put, Marty. Thanks for bringing that to us. It's going to be special.
Yeah, I'll bring. This is my day to do a little bit of history as well. There's a team in Oakland that's going to play in the Pioneer League called the Oakland Ballers.
The Bees.
The Bees, and they're going to play at Raimondi Field. And I was asked to go over there on Friday to talk a little bit about Raimondi Field. And it's got some history, too. It was the field where Frank Robinson played as a high school kid, Veda Pinson, Kurt Flood. And it has tremendous history. It was the home field of McClymonds High School, among many other events that took place there. And they've revitalized it and put a lot of money in and redone the field and their turf and They've got stands and all that, and that's where the team's going to be playing. So, one last thought on Raimondi. Well, I'm going to give you one more history lesson here.
Right.
Billy Raimondi was a very well-known catcher who played for the Oakland Oaks. His cousin Carol Raimondi was a wonderful court commissioner in Alameda County, but he played for 22 years in the Pacific Coast League, which you did. You played there. He played longer than any other position player in the history of the Pacific Coast League. And his brother was Ernest Raimondi, and he was in World War II. And he was killed at the end of World War II in 1945. So what was known as Bayview Park was then renamed Ernest Raimondi Park, and that is where the Oakland Ballers are going to play. That's how the park got its name.
Well, that's only history that you can bring to us, Marty. And, you know, the only reason I know about this team coming into play, because I know that Don Wakamatsu, who was a bench coach in the major leagues for a lot of years, also had a chance to manage, knew him very well. He's from the area. He's going to manage the team. And then, of course, our good friend J.T. Snow, who's going to be a great coach and always was when he was around with us in spring training. He's going to be coaching for that team. So I may try to make it out there and check it out. I didn't know they had such history of where they're playing. And, you know, for these players that are going to be there, they're very fortunate to have. And I don't know the rest of the staff, but I know they're going to put together a nice staff, and they're very fortunate to have, you know, coaches and players of that caliber, you know, helping them there, trying to get them to hook up to, you know, affiliate team, because these teams, what they do is they play and they want to hook up with, you know, a major league team. They're not affiliated with somebody, and then find their way into the major league. So that's exciting.
Yeah, and it happens. Micah Franklin is the manager. I think he's from the area here, and I think he got a cup of coffee with the Cardinals in the 90s. That's who the manager is. So
it's not Don. It's not Don Wakamatsu. Or he's just coaching for him.
I think that's. I may have it backwards. We'll have to check. You may be right. Maybe Don is the manager, and Micah is one of the coaches. But I know Micah Franklin is involved with it. But they play June 4th. And
opening day's already sold out for them, Marty.
Yeah, they've sold out opening day, 4,000 seats on opening day. So
Wow.
It's been incredible that they showed a time lapse of what they've been able to do since, I think it was April. They've completely renovated this park, and it looks amazing.
I think it's good for the Bay Area too. The more baseball, the better, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Well, you know, the A's are going to be gone here soon, and why not? I mean, it's such a historic site, and so it sounds great. And, you know, I'm happy for the players to get an opportunity to play, and for some of these coaches who love the game and want to teach the game to be able to be involved with it.
Well, let's talk a little bit about injuries. Ahmed is coming back. Slater's coming back. And, of course, Conforto may be back today or tomorrow. He's coming back. But, boy, it's not easy for these veterans to get hurt, go on the IL, have to work their way back, because there's that pressure in baseball, maybe not as much today as it was years ago, to play when you're hurt. You've gone through something like this.
Oh, yeah. I think most every player does it. At some point in their career, they have an injury they have to overcome, and, you know, it makes it that much difficult when you have young players. You know, they're waiting for you to falter to take your job. I've said this on the show many, many times. You know, Omar Vizquel talked about one day in the clubhouse. He stood up, and we had a little meeting in September, and we had all the September call-ups. And he talked about, you know, how difficult it was to hold down your job year after year after year, because there's 50 to 60 players drafted every year, and they're all coming for your job. And whether it's performance-related or injury-related, you know, that opens the door for somebody else to take your job. And it's not easy to keep it. So it's hard, especially as you get older. And the thing I respect about the veterans that we have on, you know, the IL right now, Ahmed, Conforto, Slater, you know, they are in AAA doing a rehab stint, which I believe they do not have to do. I think they have the option to say, I'm not going to go. So, you know, we want them back. We want them back at full strength and sharp. You know, it's not easy to miss, you know, a month of baseball and step right in when the pitchers are in a groove right now. and hit major league pitching. So it's great that they're down there on a rehab.
Yeah, well, look what, in your career, I mean, you were a minor leaguer, and if you got banged up, it's the old Wally Pipp story. You can't come in and say you have a headache and lose your job. So as a minor leaguer, you've gone through that.
Oh, yeah. My first year, 1979, I was drafted and went down to rookie ball in Bradenton, Florida, and our manager was Woody Heike. And we had 3 shortstops, so we rotated, and there was a 60-game schedule. And then I had the opportunity to play some first base, too, because I was hitting good, and he wanted to give me some more playing time. So I went over to first. There's 2 games left in the season. And I reach up the line, a throw from short comes up. I reach up to a line towards home plate to catch it. I catch the ball, and you know how you reach back to tag the runner, and the runner takes my thumb off. I mean, he hits my thumb just right, bends it back. The thing's swollen. This is like in the 7th inning. There's 2 innings left. I don't say anything because there's 2 other shortstops there. I can't. I was in high school. We didn't complain that we were hurt. You just kept playing. That's the way we did it, right? So the ball's hitting my glove the last 2 innings. Pow, pow. It's killing me every time. So I don't do anything. I don't go to the trainer. I go, oh, no, it's going to be okay. And the thing's swollen. It's black and blue the next morning. And I don't go to the trainer. And the first thing our manager does, Woody Heike, sits us all down. And he has a talk about Wally Pipp and Lou Gehrig. And he tells us the story. And the moral of the story was, you guys have to know the difference between being hurt and having a little discomfort and pain. You need to play with pain because there's someone there always to take your job. So if you can't go, you have to understand you need to be hurt, not just 100%. So, what was I going to do then? I couldn't say anything. So we had 2 games left. We had 2 games left in the season. I played them, and my thumb is still deformed to this day.
Well, we were in the press box last night, and there was a ton of activity going on in Sacramento. So what did you see from the guys in Sacramento that are hoping to make their way back up to the Giants? Maybe Conforto's looking like the soonest that he's going to be back?
Yeah, I think so, Sandra. He's been down there the longest. He has the most at bat. I wouldn't be surprised if he's back, any moment. Maybe on this road trip. I'm not sure. I didn't ask the trainers or where we're at, but he's been there for a little bit. And, of course, the other 2 guys, it's just a matter of need now. I mean, they're not going to keep them down there for, 20, 30 at-bats. So, it depends, too, on how we're playing and how they're looking. So I think Conforto will probably be the first one back. I agree with that.
That left-handed bat, it could be
yes,
much needed.
Well,
up
that's
here.
a good point. Yes, Sandra, with the left-handed bat, we're starting 2 righties in the outfield against righties, which they've done very, very well. But we have the left-handed bat veteran in Conforto, which I know will be a big help when he gets back.
Well, we got a good giveaway today. Have you seen the giveaway, the Lamont Wade giveaway? Have you seen this?
Yeah, I heard something about it. It spews water.
Yeah.
A splash hit bobblehead.
The water cannon.
I'm trying, we're on the live stream. I'm trying to get Russ Stanley to come up here and give us one so we could show it. But, yeah, apparently, Sandra, explain this again.
Yeah, so it's Lamont Wade Jr., and it's got the splash hit tracker on it. And then, every time a home run goes off here at the ballpark, the water cannons blast everybody. Yeah. They got all the water coming out. So it was funny. I think Russ was telling me that Dwayne was doing the trial of the bobblehead, and then he looks up. The water had sprayed his glasses. So, it does really spray the water. It's pretty cool. From my understanding, this might be like the first kind of bobblehead in Giants history. Is we invented the bobblehead. So
this is going to be like Bat Day. This is going to be interesting
taking it to
today.
The next level.
All right.
Well, that is next. That is next level. Does his head bobble though? Is his head
it does,
shake back and forth? Okay, good. Mm-hmm. We got to have that in a bobblehead, right? We can't leave that out.
All right, no, we got to see this. Well, the trip starts in Arizona, and I assume the roof will be closed. It's 100 degrees down there now. I know the weather, believe me, has kicked in. But the last time they left the roof open, they had the bees. The bees, remember, came behind home plate. We saw that in spring training. Remember that in spring training? We had that incident that has stopped the game for like 2 hours for the bees?
Absolutely. You know, the Bees, I've seen them down there all the years I spent in spring training. I've seen them at least 3 times stop games in Arizona. Yeah, the most recent is one that you're talking about. And when those babies swarm, it is not a good feeling when you're on that field. And, of course, you remember the Cincinnati Bees, where I can't remember, the player came out and I don't know, he was doing some comedy routine with the Bees. They had to stop the game in Cincinnati, Ohio on the road there because of those killer bees flying around too. So, you know, the Bees are out there. You don't want to get caught in a swarm. There's no question.
No, they have to bring in the special beekeeper.
Well, he became the MVP, so he threw out the first pitch when they restarted the game in Arizona.
It takes 2 hours to get rid of him. Yeah, this is good, but I'm sure the roof will be closed. I'm sure that's going to happen. So we'll see what happens. But remember Jabba Chamberlain? Well, in the playoffs, he got swarmed by gnats in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. That's right. Well, I remember, too, in St. Louis, the moths. We had a game, I remember Barry was in left field with moths, and the ball would be hit to the outfield, and you couldn't see the ball. I mean, it was that bad. It was just covered. It was like it was snowing.
We're lucky to be here with the fog. I think that's all we got to put up with.
That's right.
That's cool. That's good. Well, one thought about River Islands, that Del Webb community is going to be part of River Islands, and made me think of this, and I know we talk about River Islands all the time, how you build a community, how you build a city with fire, police, schools, elementary schools, adult community within the community. That's what River Islands is doing. It really is going to be a complete community.
Yes, it is. And, you know, the thing that's real appealing for me is just how beautiful it is out there and how this place continues to grow. But, you know, the thing is, isn't it nice to have new stuff, a brand new school with all the updated items that you need to teach your students and the homes, you know? You don't have to move out there and then, you know, spend thousands of dollars fixing up your place because it's 30, 40 years old. So, yeah, they're building a community. They're going as strong as ever, and it's a wonderful place to check out because they got it going on. There's no question.
Boy, they have it going on, and Blake Snell better get it going on too today. You know.
Yes. Well, you know, this would be the time would be right for him today against the Yankees, big stage, and I think he's going to jerk up a good one today. You know, he's got really good stuff, as we all know, and he just go after some of these guys and, you know, and attack. You know, you mentioned these big hitters. You know, as a pitcher, you can't run from people either, right? So you got to be careful and got to be smart when you're facing guys that are hot and that dangerous. But as we said, the walks will kill you. And, you know, sometimes when you have really good stuff, not sometimes, it's okay to attack these guys, attack their weakness, get ahead, and do your thing. And he has that type of stuff. So hopefully that will be his game plan today.
Good one. All right. Enjoy Sunday, Will. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you.
Thanks, Will.
All right, Sandra. All right, Marty. Thanks. Great being with you.
All right. Be well. All right. That is the Professor, Ron Wotus. Boy, live at the ballpark. We got Giants baseball coming up. Glenn Kyper next, right here in the Sports Leader.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Fans, it's great to have you back with us. We're joined by Grant Power. He's the president and CEO of Nations. Grant has been with us before and talked to us about the new concept at Nations, franchising. Grant, how is that going?
It's been fantastic, Marty. Just 2 weeks ago, we sold 5 franchisees in Dallas to an investment group, and we're deep in discussions with what appears to be our first sale of a franchise in San Jose.
Grant, how does someone get in touch with you to discuss this even further?
You can always go to our website, which is Nation's Giant Hamburgers, and Google us there. But quite frankly, I'll say it twice here. My cell phone number is 510-612-0036. 510-612-0036. The build-out cost is expected to be about $850,000. We have a great relationship with a banker who's an industry leader when it comes to SBA loans for franchising. The main cash requirement is somebody having $200,000 in cash. The good news at the start of this process is almost all of the best locations are still available. They have $200,000 in cash, and they're animated by working with people, and they love the restaurant space. I can't think of a better investment opportunity.
That's Grant Power, president and CEO of Nation's Giant Hamburgers. Marty Lurie here with Brett Wisely. You know, it's funny to watch you play. I mean, you play short, you play second, you play center, and somebody said, hey, can the kid play first? And they threw you at first base. How about that?
Yeah, I played a few games in the minor leagues at first base, so I wouldn't say it's second nature, but getting over there wasn't too uncomfortable, but playing there at the big stage was a little nerve-wracking.
Brett Wisely with us. What kind of instruction do you get when you play first base? What do they say to you? Because, man, you got cutoffs, you got bunting, you got a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff. I mean, luckily we didn't have to do any bunt defense or any cuts and relays, but just try to block the ball when it's thrown to me or catch it if it's in the air. I mean, only really job I thought I could have over there.
All right. Well, it's good to see you. You're hungry. You got to eat. Come on.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
All right. That's Brett Wisely.
Prepping you for today's orange and black ball game, we now take you back to Talkin' Baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR, the sports leader.
All right. A pleasure to have you back with us as we get ready for Giants baseball. Glenn Kyper joins us. Glenn, how are you?
I'm good, Marty. How are you?
Good. Well, as I said to Woe, I think we've seen enough of Aaron Judge. And Stanton hit one down the left field line that was a bullet last night, too. Look, you've seen this a million times with the Yankees. Well, what's your thought about what's going on here?
Well, they seem to have a little different look this year, Marty. You know, look at their record, right? 41-19, second best record in the major leagues. But, you know, they have had years in the past where they're always pretty good, but maybe they feel like they've underachieved a little bit. Well, so far this year, that's not the case. And you always look at the Yankees when you look at their hitters, right? That's sort of the first thing you do. And they got great hitters, and we've seen it in these first two games of the series. But, you know, their pitching's pretty darn good this year, and they're doing this without Garrett Cole. And I think that's a big reason why their record is what it is they're always going to hit because they're the Yankees. But this year, the pitching's been really good, and it'll probably continue to be good and get better when Cole comes back. So that's probably the biggest reason why they're so good or up to such a great start.
All right. Well, we promised the fans, Glenn, that they get a look at the bobblehead today. And, you know, this is the Lamont Wade bobblehead, and Russ Stanley on the live stream is standing right behind us. And Russ can wave. Russ is smiling today because he knows that we're going to have close to 40,000 today. So he's very, very excited. There are
still
tickets
available.
Thank you.
Get
Russ
out
says,
here.
all right, we're going to show the bobblehead on the air.
This is what they call an unboxing, Marty.
Okay.
Marty, you have to push the thing so the water comes out, okay?
I couldn't do this. You know, these plastic things you can't open? You know how hard? Larry David did a good show on this.
There we go.
Is there water in there, Russ?
Not yet.
Not yet. All right.
Here. Our next break.
All right. Well, this is good for radio, live radio, as we're describing it. All right. Our next break, we'll put some water in there. But if you're watching us on the live stream, which I know people are, you can go to YouTube, KNBR Livestream. You can see it. All right, Russ. Very good.
Thanks, Russ.
It's a good one. All right. All right, we're going to keep it here. We're going to fill it up in the next break. All right. Thank you. All right. Russ, you can hang around. You can stay here. All right, Glenn, back to Glenn. All right. Nestor Cortez today. Someone described him as a Johnny Cueto-like pitcher. What do you think?
Yeah, well, he has the shimmy, and he's got some different things that he does. But when it's said and done, he's pretty darn good. He's kind of a crafty lefty. But he's got the wiggle. He's got the hesitation, and he's going to throw it all out there. I don't know if any of that's changed, with what pitchers can do and can't do now. But he's going to keep doing it as much as he's allowed. And he's pretty good, and lefty, and he's part of this pitching staff that I just talked about. So, and I always think when a lefty's pitching, you think about the lineup, Marty, and they're just the two guys that jump out today. Because the lefties pitching, and the Giants just really need these guys to get going, is Wilmer and Soler.
Yeah.
Because they're both so important to the lineup, and Wilmer even more so now because Wade is out. But, Wilmer's sitting at 213, Soler's at 202, and they just need those two guys to get hot. And Wilmer was so good last year, so it's a little frustrating because it's there for him. But it's been a tough year so far, and you just think
You think about Wilmer, and you think about he's got to have good at bats against left-handers. Soler the same way. So I'm going to watch those two today against Nestor. But if the Giants are going to get hot offensively again at some point, I think those two right-handed bats need to get going big time for the Giants.
Yeah, and look, Matos had a tremendous start, but he's kind of crashed back to earth here, offensively. And Ramos as well. So what you're saying, and I agree, the big boys have got to pick it up.
That's right. And listen, there was a nice stretch where these young players certainly were playing well, and they were helping the Giants win games. And then, now they're struggling. And they're no different than a veteran guy. It's what happens in baseball. Guys get hot, guys struggle back and forth. But with the young players, you obviously watch how long they struggle. And, Matos, listen, Marty, just numbers-wise, he's 0 for his last 15 and 3 for his last 33. Yeah. And he's hitting in that leadoff spot. So, his on-base percentage is .244. So, there is a struggle going on there. And I know you said something to me last week, and I thought it was very well said about how they're pitching him. It looks like now they're trying to pitch him in. And so they've made an adjustment, they being, other pitching staffs, and now he needs to make that adjustment, either lay off the pitch inside or, you got to do some damage with it. And I've kind of noticed that too after you said it. They are pitching him a little different. But, listen, it's young players. You hope that they fight through these slumps and, get back to rolling a little bit. And Ramos is the same way. The only concern I have with Ramos, Marty, is just, he strikes out a lot. And, he's got 29 strikeouts and 79 at-bats. That's 37%.
Wow.
So that's a lot. So if you're going to strike out a lot, then you need to be hitting the ball out of the ballpark, and you need to be doing a lot of damage. He's done some damage, but there's some swing and miss there. And for me, that's a little bit of a concern with Ramos as we go on.
Boy, great analysis. Good analysis, Glenn. Really good. Yeah, Glenn Kyper with us. We love having you on every Sunday to break this down for us. The other thing, you made a point when we chatted about defense, and you said something that's interesting, and I really am starting to watch it now, that there's usually one or two defensive plays during a game that turns a game around. And you said it the other day after the catching mishap led to 2 runs that busted open the game for the Yankees on Friday night.
It happens all the time. I mean, it just does. There's always you look back at a game, and many times you see a couple mistakes that were made. They may not be errors, but they just may be defensive miscues, or maybe you didn't play the ball right, and it cost you a run or it cost you 2 runs. And it happens very often where then you look at the final score and you lost by 1 or 2 runs. It happens all the time. It's just, but because I think, we're also trained, Marty, to look at the box score and see, well, he went 2 for 4 and he gave up 2 earned runs. You look at the basic things in a box score, but if you get a little tighter into the game and you nitpick a little bit, many, many times there's a couple of defensive mistakes that were made that may cost you a run or 2. And then you look at what the final score is and you realize how important defense is. And I, maybe it's not a real positive way to look at it, but it's also, I think, a constructive way to look at it, because you see where you're losing games. And that's where that defensive, just making not only plays, but, it may be an error, it may be a missed cutoff, or it may be diving for a ball when maybe you should have played it on a hop. Little things like that. And if you give good teams extra outs, they're gonna do damage, and the Yankees certainly fall into that category.
Well, Woe made a good point today about a good pitcher going at the hitters. Don't dance around. Snell has got that kind of stuff. Go right at him. Don't bounce at 59 feet.
Well, and I thought we saw a little bit of progress with Snell in his last outing, and I know we're all looking for a lot of progress, but but I thought he attacked a little bit more in his last start with his fastball, and he had, quite a few strikeouts for the time he was out there. But, yeah, his stuff is plenty good, and it's going to be fun to watch him today against this Yankees lineup because it's really good, and it has a fair amount of right-handed hitters in it.
Yes.
But, yeah, you're right. He has to attack, and with stuff like that, I don't know that you really need to nibble much at all because it's good enough to get a lot of people out, even this Yankee lineup.
Yeah, just go right at him.
Yeah. Hey, Glenn, it's Sandra.
Yeah. Hey, Sandra.
I just want to make a quick comparison because I was talking to my dad last night, and we see yesterday a home run from Aaron Judge. We see a home run from Stanton. Is this like a reincarnation of the Bash brothers from Oakland with Canseco and McGuire? Because it's just like these two huge guys that are coming up and just knocking home runs.
Well, physically it certainly fits the bill, and Stanton is scary. I don't he's not scary like Judge to me, but if you saw last night, I'm watching Ryan Walker, who's got really good stuff, right? Kind of a tough at bat for right-handers, and I'm thinking, you know what? He's going to breeze through this inning, gets the first two guys, and then he's 0-2 on Judge, and what happens? Ground ball, tough play for Wisely. His throw's a little wide, and 6 pitches later, they got 3 runs.
Yeah.
Because Walker hung a slider to Stanton. And listen, you can get Stanton out. He has some holes. He doesn't like being pitched in. He'll chase a little bit. But if you make any kind of mistake, he's going to do what he did last night. And I think you talk about McGuire and Canseco. And I remember McGuire, and Marty, you remember him. You could get a fastball by him if it was a little up. But if you made any mistake with Mac, if you hang anything or a fastball out over the plate, he was gonna crush it. And I think that's what these great hitters do. They may not always hit good pitchers' pitches, but if you make any kind of mistake, they do damage. That's the difference to me between the great power hitters and the average power hitters. Is the great power hitters do more damage on mistakes. And you saw it last night. We've seen it all series with Judge. Some bad pitches right there, and he just hammers it. And then you saw a hanging slider with Stanton, and boom. And at that point, the game's over after he hits the 2-run homer. So if you want to call them the Yankees Bash Brothers, Sandra, that's fine. They certainly fit the bill.
Yeah, we could do it after today.
Yeah.
After today, we can deal with that. One last thought for you, Glenn Kyper with us on this Sunday. I love Sunday baseball. As a kid, I went to the Ebbets Field. I went to Miami Stadium on Sunday. Growing up, did Henry take you guys to Sunday games as a kid?
Well, if we didn't have to go to church, but that was not an option, so not a lot on Sundays. Mom and Dad were very faith-based, and we were going to church on Sunday mornings, whether we wanted to go to a ball game or not. Now, if it was a Saturday game, yeah, he may get us there occasionally. Sundays, though, we're sort of off limits. It's a joke in our family, Marty, is growing up, and I'm talking about football now. Growing up, we never saw the first quarter of the Packer game growing up in Wisconsin because we were in the car coming home from church, and it was like, oh, my gosh. So every Packer game we saw as a kid, in our mind, it started in the second quarter because we were at church, missed the first quarter, but got home in time for the second quarter. So that was the Sunday at the Kyper household. But Saturdays or maybe in the week, sneaking off to County Stadium, yeah, we did do that occasionally.
I love it. All right. Hey, great to have you on. We got so much more to talk about. We'll do it next weekend. Have a good week.
Great. See you guys, and let's beat the Yankees today.
No kidding. Okay, thanks, Glenn. All right, Bruce Jenkins next, right here in the Sports Leader. Fans, for great baseball gear, check out Baseballism. The store is located at 3rd and King opposite the ballpark. Whether it's jackets, shirts, hats, you name it, Baseballism is the most unique store I've seen. It is the best. 3rd and King, right opposite the ballpark. Fans, nothing better than spending an afternoon at the Priest Ranch Wine Tasting Room in Yountville. You can relax as you enjoy a selection of limited production estate wines paired with local artisanal cheese and charcuterie. Your host will guide you through each unique pairing while sharing the incredible story of Priest Ranch. Now, while you're there, you must try the food at our new restaurant, The Kitchen at Priest Ranch. It's right next door to the Priest Ranch Tasting Room and serves amazing, fast, casual food. That's an afternoon. Just a quick note about the rooftop restaurant at the Via Hotel, the Hotel Via across the street from the park. They do a wide variety of events on the rooftop, from weddings and birthdays to corporate retreats and special events, holiday events, and any other special occasion you can think of. With stunning 360 views of the skyline, Bay Bridge, East Bay, and of course Oracle Park, the rooftop at Via is truly one of the most unique event venues in San Francisco.
Look through the window of the original Joe's on North Beach and you'll see two guys at the counter talking ball. Time for you to listen in to their conversation. Marty Laurie and the SF Chronicles' Bruce Jenkins are looking through the window of baseball. Sponsored by Original Joe's of North Beach and Westlake on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Marty Laurie here with Casey Schmidt. Casey, nice to see you at the ballpark again, man.
Yeah, I'm excited. So I just got in this morning, so I'm excited to get going.
What is it like for you to get the call to come up now back to the big leagues? Who tells you? Do they fool around with you, or do they give you the straight dope?
It was just straight up. I was at the hotel room last night when I got the call, and then I flew up this morning, and then now we're here. Now I'm excited to get things going and get out there and play.
What's the best part of being in the big leagues? And I ask that question, people would say, oh, maybe the travel, the food, maybe just being in the big leagues. But for you, what's the best part of being up here again?
Oh, man, it's everything. This is like the thing that you dream about as a child, playing in the big leagues. So just to be able to kind of come up and play in the big leagues, it's just special. When you're younger, you're playing outside, you're playing local ball with your friends. You're pretending like you're these big league hitters. You're pretending like you're playing in all these different parks and stuff. But just to get the opportunity to come up and play, it's always surreal.
All right, Case, nice to have you back.
Thank you for having me.
All right, great to have everyone back today. The sun is out here at the ballpark. We get ready for Game 3 between the Giants and the Yankees, and welcome in Bruce Jenkins. Bruce, on this Sunday morning, how are you?
Good. That's my guy, Casey Schmidt. I loved hearing him there. I've got so much hope for that guy. I really think he's got what it takes. Might take him a little while, but he bombed a home run last night. He got a big hit when they needed it, so he's getting the shot again. I love to see it.
Yeah, he's what I like to say, a hungry player.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, Bruce, it's short. He is probably the best shortstop out here. He really is.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the bat's coming around. He doesn't remind us of anything he was doing last year, just striking out just horribly. got a lot more patience. That single he got was to the opposite field, and he's got great dead pull power, and he's just got a lot of panache too. He's a great guy to have around.
Hey, Bruce, it's Sandra. I was just going to say, I heard Casey talking last night that he actually changed something in his stance, so he's opening up a little bit more. He's got his left foot a little bit higher, and he's able to kind of go through the ball a little bit better. Is that kind of what you're seeing from him right now as well?
Oh, yeah, no question. The low and away pitch was just like a mystery to him. I think it really got in his head, and it just got worse. We've talked about Matt Williams, how he changed some things in his approach to just stop doing that because it got to be such an embarrassment. And he looks like a different guy. He's laying off the low and away pitch, especially when it's heading way too far outside for him to do anything with it. I think he'll still be able to crush a hanging slider, but he's just being really careful not to look foolish on those pitches away from him.
Good. Okay, that's something to watch. Yeah. All right, you're good. Good report on him, Bruce. That was very good on Casey Schmidt. Let's talk Matos a little bit. Bruce, I looked at the numbers, 7 for 52, and I think Glenn said 3 for 30 or something like that. There was a ball in deep center field that he couldn't catch up to. Maybe that's the catch that Willie Mays makes or something like that. And then there was a shoestring that went past him. Maybe Matos, he drove in all those runs, but he's sort of leveling off a little bit. So I'm going to ask you this, and J.D. brought it up yesterday about Kevin Pillar. Maybe Kevin Pillar at the White Sox, who's having this resurgence, maybe Kevin Pillar would be good for this team to put in center field.
Well, he would take care of the defense, that's for sure. I mean, he's I think Matos has a lot of talent as a ball hawk and just in general out there, but he has made some mistakes. You got to stay in front of that ball that turned into a triple. That other catch would have been miraculous. But Pillar is a guy that you don't worry about. He's like Kiermaier. He's out there. He makes the plays, makes the great plays. Not a young guy. I mean, it doesn't sound right to me. He would definitely be probably more reliable defensively right now, but is he going to come up and start raking and make everybody I don't see that. I want to give Matos some more rope because he's shown that he can hit and that he can field and that he's just got to put it together.
All right. Yeah, Pillar is doing well with the White Sox right now, and that's why we came up on the show yesterday. But it's a point well taken. Not really the answer. But Matos, the clock is on him right now, and he's got to look. You got to have a shortstop. And you got to play center field if you want to win, and that's the key, right?
Well, yeah. If he, makes some bad routes and misplays a ball that turns into a disaster a couple more times, you can't have that. It's just it's like Luciano. It got to the point where you can't have him making mistakes in the ninth inning in a close game. You just can't. You got to go some other way. So I think Matos isn't quite there yet, but they're watching him.
Bruce Snell today, Woe said it, and Glenn Kyper said it, and I've said it, and I think it made sense when I heard it. He's got to go at the hitters. Don't dance around. Don't try to throw that perfect slider on the back foot every time. You got good stuff. Go right at him. You don't have to walk the park. Get some outs early.
Yeah, his stuff. He has great stuff, Marty. All of his pitches were working the last time out. And next thing you know, you got to get him out of there. It's exasperating. It's certainly not the first time we've seen it or the Padres saw it at times. And, it's a very important start for him today because, good Lord, that lineup he's going up against is just murder. I haven't seen it, but you got to figure Judge is in there. Soto's leading the league in hitting right now, among other things. And Stanton will be in there against the lefty. So if he, he's so capable of going into leaving the game after 6 innings, and he'll head 2-0. We got to see that. And you're right. Go after the hitters. Forget the 3-ball counts.
Yeah, just go right at it. Your stuff is good enough to throw it in the strike zone and get some outs that way. Ricky Ricardo was on after you yesterday, and he does some of the broadcasting for the Yankees on the Spanish network, and he's filling in on John Sterling as they get a new replacement for John. But he talked about Soto. And it was interesting. He said he is just the toast of the town, and there's so many Dominican fans, more Dominican fans than in any place in the country, and they love him, and he's the king. And Ricky feels, you never know what Boris is going to do as the agent, But he says, boy, he has made New York. And when you make it in New York, Bruce, you make it.
Yeah, well, that's true. I just remember Manny Ramirez came from a nice little pocket of the Dominican Republicans in New York. That was his upbringing.
Oh,
and
right.
Strong,
That's right.
Strong presence there. And, unlike Manny Ramirez, who was a pretty strange cat, and not everybody loved him, this guy, Soto, he's got so much flair. He walks out on the stage like, here I am, baby, and you're going to have to deal with me, and it's going to be fun. And, aside from the power and everything else, last night he gets a 3-2 count on Webb, and he singles to left. And the next time up, he gets another 2-strike count. A guy on third, he goes deep to the left field track, opposite field again, for a sacrifice fly. That he can wait on that pitch and hurt you the other way, and then Lord knows if you put it in the wrong place, he'll jerk it out. He can put one in the water. So, and he's a good fielder. He's a great guy. I don't know. I always talk about, geez, is he going to leave? Is he going to what? I mean, you can't. It's like Judge last year. The guy just hit 1 million homers and put Roger Maris into the background. He's not going to leave the Yankees, and I can't imagine Soto leaving the Yankees either.
No.
Yeah,
no,
I think he's found his home.
Yep, and he's going to get $500 million. So it's going to be something crazy.
That too.
But they will pay him. And, because look, when New York wants you, that's what I always say. Even with the whole Judge business with the Giants, when the Yankees want the guy, they generally get the guy because they will spend more than anyone. And they'll do whatever it takes to get him, and that's what you have to deal with. Well, this Cortez pitches today, and he's been described to me, and I haven't seen him live, but I've seen him on TV a couple of times, sort of like a Johnny Cueto or Louis Tiant. He's going to spin around like a top before he throws the ball to the plate.
I saw one pitch. He was gyrating around. He looked like a drunk standing outside a bar who could barely keep his feet. Somebody get over. This guy's going down. It was bizarre. It was like beyond Louis Tiant. And he'll surprise you with it. It's not like every pitch he'll give you a little nuance. He'll be totally normal. Then he'll bust out something like that. I love it. I love anything that's creative out there, especially when you have success. And this guy, he has success. His last outing wasn't too great, but the ones before that, Seattle and the White Sox, nowhere in runs on either one of them. So this guy can really pitch.
And, he was an all-star last year. Or wait, in 2022 he was an all-star.
Yeah.
Bruce, did you see when he kind of did it was like a hidden ball where he went to make the pitch and then didn't release it, and it was like such trickery. I never seen anything like it.
Yeah, the next thing, he's going to make a pickoff throw to second without even looking. He's just going to fire it between his legs.
Tickets are available. You want to see that, as Russ Stanley says.
Absolutely.
This is one that's worth seeing.
Yeah.
I'm into this Sunday baseball thing today, and we're going to go to Rickwood Field, and there was such a big deal on Sunday baseball for the Birmingham Black Barons, and the place would be sold out, and churches would end early so people could go. And I just think about, we asked Glenn Kyper the question, and church was the Kyper household on Sunday. They didn't go to Sunday games very often. But how about you, Bruce? Did you go to Sunday baseball a lot as a kid?
That's when I mostly went when I was a kid, and it was mostly doubleheaders. Doubleheaders were common then, and it's just like a 20-minute break between games. They didn't charge you for coming back later in the evening. It was a nice doubleheader. They usually lasted about 2:20 each. It always seemed to be the Braves. My dad loved to take me out to see the Milwaukee Braves at the LA Coliseum, and then later on, when I could drive, I'd get out there on Sundays. It's just day baseball, as you know and we all know, is really just priceless. And I can't get enough of it. How great would it be to live in Chicago, especially when they were just almost all day games before the lights went in? They couldn't even have a night game there, and that's how it should be.
Yeah, when I first came to California in 1972, Michael Gaines and I, my best friend, would go to the doubleheaders. We would always go to doubleheaders and on Sunday, and we'd stay for both games. And by the end of the second game, the hot dog wrappers would be on the left field corner. Remember, with the wind, they'd be going around, and Max Leone would be pitching, and we'd be going home. He lived in the Sunset, was completely in fog, and he was surrounded by nasturtium You know, that was the plants that he had around his house.
Well,
But
that's a very precise memory and a beautiful one.
That's what I remember about. You'd see the Atlanta Braves games. But that,
I
that
wanted
was
to see Warren Spahn. It turned out to be Carlton Willie. Other than that, it was great.
Or Joey J. Actually,
Yeah.
I talked to Tito Fuentes yesterday. Tito's fabulous. You know, do you talk, Bruce? You haven't been to a game in a while out here, but Tito is a treasure. You know that? He is and his baseball knowledge is impeccable for what he remembers.
Well, yeah, when you think about, who he played with, for one thing, he played with Marshall and Mays and McCovey and Cepeda, for heaven's sake, but he played a long time. He saw a lot of the league. And obviously he's so good on the air, he can talk about it. His memory's great, but he's just, he's like Cepeda. He's just a shining light. He's just a bright human being. You love to be around, and a real treasure to have on the Spanish network. I wish I spoke Spanish. Sometimes I just tune in those guys.
I know, it's true. We talk. I see him just about every time I'm up here in the lunchroom, and he listens to the show and loves hearing you. And we talk. I throw the name at him. Nino Escalera. Or something like that.
Jungle Jim Rivera.
Jim Rivera.
Yeah, he's all over it. Yeah.
Yeah, and he knows everything. He knows everything. And Tito was a heck of a ball player.
Sure, great second baseman.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say great, but he was a high caliber player, a lot of energy, made great plays, got some clutch hits, and he belonged in that lineup. If you were going to play with those guys, you better bring something to the park.
Yeah, I'm sorry that we don't get Tito on more. You're right. We should probably try to get him on more and talk ball with him. Didn't he bounce the bat when he would come to the plate, Bruce? Remember? Didn't he have a way
just a little flair. Yeah.
Right?
Little, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of get himself going, and he was a natural showman. He just couldn't help but do little things like that. He was very flashy around the bag too. He made some phenomenal plays that were just pure athleticism.
Yeah, boy, but he knows his baseball. And I was telling Sandra yesterday how many great Cuban players had come into the major leagues before Castro shut off the valve, so to speak. But Tito was one of the last to come in with Campy Campaneris.
Yeah, oh my gosh, Tony Oliva and Tony Perez and on and on. The great Cookie Rojas. So many tremendous players from Cuba back then. It was a shame that it did get cut off, but we're seeing a bit of revival now. When guys they still have to go through hell to get here, but when they do, it's usually worthwhile.
We have an event that coming up June 4th is a home opener for the Oakland Bees, the Oakland Ballers. They play at Ernest Raimondi Park over in Oakland, and they're renovating the park. I was out there Friday. It's really going to be nice. I'm glad to see him back in the Bay Area. Don Wakamatsu is part of it. J.T. Snow, Micah Franklin. This is a big deal for Oakland with what's going on with the A's to have this happening. June 4th is their opener. Bruce, it's sold out. 4,000 seats sold out already.
Oh, that's terrific. The last I heard, Sandra, I don't know if you know, they had a pitcher named Kelsey Whitmore, a white, a woman pitcher. She's still with the club, right?
She is. Yep, she is. And she was pitching for the USA National, the women's baseball team. But really, really cool and exciting, especially, we just had Girls' Day out here at the ballpark a couple weeks ago, but she's going to be one of the first women in the Pioneer League.
Really?
That's so great.
Yep, really exciting.
I saw a shot of her warming up, and she's got that little leg whip, see Kyle Harrison when he whips that leg around. She kind of does that from the right-handed side. Not as dramatic, but she looks good warming up. I think it's a wonderful thing if she's going to be playing pro ball.
Absolutely.
I like it. All right, that's good. KPX Plus, whatever that means. I have no idea. Yeah, channel 44 plus, maybe it's channel 88. I don't know. Yeah. But I think Vern Glenn is part of it, and they're going to have some of the games. If anyone's going to do it, Vern will do it.
Yes, he will.
Yeah, it was
the
good.
Ageless one.
Yeah, no. So I'm glad to hear that, and of course, Raimondi Park, named after Ernest Raimondi, Billy Raimondi's brother, who was killed in World War II. But Billy Raimondi played longer as a position player in the Pacific Coast League than anyone in history.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's quite a stat. That's
as a catcher. 22 years.
As a catcher, yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. In those days, you didn't want to go up to the big leagues. You made more money being on the Pacific Coast.
Yeah, they played every day but Monday, right? Those guys?
Yep. Yeah, 6 days a week. That's what they did. Let's talk to you very quickly on the National League West, Bruce. The Padres, Darvish and Musgrove are now on the DL. Arise is still hitting great. He's as a Padre, he's hitting close to 400. They've made a little bit of a separation from the Giants, just a little bit, and Colorado and the Dodgers going at it. And then you have Arizona and the Giants this week. Let's talk just a little bit National League West.
Well, yeah, that was bad news for San Diego. Musgrove and Darvish both go on the IL yesterday, but I tell you, if they can get to the bullpen, all of a sudden they've got two guys out there coming out of nowhere. Estrada.
Yeah.
This guy, he's 0.50. He's had 30 Ks in 18 innings. Last year, in the minors, he walked 38 guys in 39 innings. But he found a couple pitches to add to the fastball over the off season. Now you can't hit him. Then they got Roberto Suarez is the closer. He's got 17 saves. He was at working construction in Venezuela when a guy said, "Hey, you should go to the Mexican League," and that triggered the path to the bigs. And right now he's 0.69 ERA. So you get to the Padres bullpen, it's trouble. And they had a nice game yesterday. Tatis homered and Kim homered, and nobody can get a rise out. So yeah, they are in a position to separate themselves a little more from the Giants.
Yeah, yep, and the Giants go to Arizona this week for 3, then Texas, of course, next week. And Arizona's really been in trouble, but they did win one yesterday. But now Zach Gallen is on the disabled list with a hamstring. Merrill Kelly is still out. But you know who's carrying him? Christian Walker and Jock Peterson. How about that?
Yeah, Christian Walker hit a slam off Manaea yesterday.
Yep. Jock had a big homer too earlier in the week, didn't he?
No, you can't get him out against right-handers. He's hitting over 300. He's hit a bunch of homers. Carroll, was hitting in the 190s, got a 2-run hit yesterday. Yeah, that club could catch fire, but it's tough with Gallen and Kelly, and Eduardo Rodriguez is out too. I mean, the rotation is just in shambles. So it doesn't seem like it's going to be their year. I mean, Ketel Marte had a 21-game hitting streak, and his average went down. He was just going 1 for 4 every day. So we'll see about them.
Well, Giants could be getting him at the right time. We'll see him. All right. Hey, have a great Sunday, and we'll catch up next weekend. Thanks, Bruce.
Okay, thanks guys. See ya.
All right. Boy, it was great to talk to Bruce. A couple of things I want to mention. On our contests, we have our weekly contest at Baseball Marty. Guess the score of the game with dinner for 2 at Original Joe's.
Yep.
And on the stream, I'm going to hold up the card from Soto Amare at 552 green. And Raf picks out someone at random who has participated in the contest for dinner for 2 at Soto Amare. And I was there the other night with Richie Azzolino, my friend Otto, and his friend Bob. And I had sand dabs. And you can get sand dabs up at Bodega Bay at the Tides Wharf. Fabulous. We had a great meal. So that's it. I'm holding it up on the live stream. Soto Amare, Raf picks someone out every week to get dinner for 2 there, even if you don't win the contest. So kind of the consolation prize, but it's a great restaurant. All right, so we've got that. We've got our contest. We've got baseball coming up. We've got our giveaway here that works, right? You made it work?
Yeah, it works. All right, so on the live stream, this is the Lamont Wade Jr. 100th Splash Hit 1-year anniversary bobblehead. And
stand back
with full functioning water cannons, guys.
Okay.
Check it out. Sorry about your notes, Marty.
Yeah, keep it away from my laptop. I don't want trouble with my laptop here.
Yeah.
All right, we're having fun. It is Sunday baseball, Giants and Yankees coming up. It's nowhere else you'd rather be. It is a gorgeous day today. It really is.
The flags are not even moving right now.
My grandson Noah, graduation today from CPS. So I'm going to, and Sonny from the limo service is taking me over there. And so the family is getting together today, so that's going to be fun.
Congratulations, Noah.
For Noah. All right, very good. All right, Bob Kendrick is next. You are going to love this conversation with Bob Kendrick, the president of the Negro League Baseball Museum. This is special, coming up right after the break.
Talking baseball with Marty Laurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Fans, I love to talk about my good friends at Georgie Brothers Furniture. They've served the Bay Area for over 90 years. Their talented staff work as a team to help their customers find beautiful pieces of furniture to invest in. I've done it. The 50,000 square foot showroom is full of over 150 wonderful carpets, window coverings, and furniture manufacturers. Now, one of the most popular furniture lines that I love to talk about, you know it, is Stressless. Stressless makes high-quality, comfortable furniture, including sectional sofas, love seats, single reclining chairs, as well as the famous Stressless chair and ottoman. Here's the big news. Starting May 31st and running all the way until June 17th, there's a new Stressless promotion. It's really good. You can save $500 on every Stressless wing-style chair and ottoman in supple Paloma leather. That's Georgie Brothers Furniture. The showroom is in South San Francisco with free parking. Since 1933, the best source for home furnishings. Visit them at georgiebrothers.com. That's GIORGIBROS.com. Remember, tell them that Marty sent you.
Orange and Black family, the godfather of Giants baseball now continues. This is Talkin' Baseball with Marty Laurie on KNBR, the sports leader.
All right, great to have you back with us right here as we get ready for baseball today. What a special treat for everyone. Bob Kendrick joins us. Bob is the president of the Negro League Baseball Museum and just a fountain of information. Love talking ball with him. Bob, it's great to have you on the show today.
Man, Marty, it's great to see you, and it's great to be back. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, we're glad to have you. Coming up is a game with the Giants and the Cardinals, and I want to talk about it at Rickwood Field on June 20th. Yeah. It is a huge part of baseball history, and black history as well. Give us your thought about the game itself, that it's taking place in Birmingham.
I'm so excited. It's hard for me to hide my excitement. I had been working with Major League Baseball as part of its planning committee for a couple of years, and so I had to keep this secret for a while before it was actually formally announced, and it was hard to keep the secret because I was so excited about this game that's going to take place there at Rickwood Field, because it's going to be such a special moment, not just for Negro League's history, but I think for baseball history and in many ways American history, when this game between the St. Louis Cardinals and the San Francisco Giants take place at Rickwood Field, where the world will be watching and they'll be celebrating right along with us the history of the Negro Leagues. So, yeah, this is tremendous.
Let's talk about the history of Rickwood Field. It goes back to 1910. Rickwood Field. It was Rick Woodward who named it. He owned the team and the field. But tell us a little bit the history of Rickwood, because it's a fascinating history.
Well, it is a fascinating history. It's the oldest active professional ballpark in the country. So it's older than Wrigley. It's older than Fenway. And, of course, it was home to the great Birmingham Black Barons. There, of course, was the Birmingham Barons, and in the Negro Leagues, the Birmingham Black Barons. And even though we're talking about a very polarized, segregated city in Birmingham, particularly at that time there in the Deep South, the Birmingham Black Barons were beloved. And they outdrew their white counterparts in that stadium, that very stadium, Rickwood Field. And, of course, as we both know, that was also the place that a young kid by the name of Willie Mays would begin his illustrious professional baseball career as a 17-year-old center fielder playing for the Birmingham Black Barons. And so there is so much history that is a part of that stadium. And that history kind of comes to life, certainly from a black baseball perspective, when this game is going to be held on June 20th there at Rickwood Field. It's being completely renovated. And so I haven't seen the work that baseball has been doing, but when you got money, you can do some amazing things. And I know that they are going to create a gym, and I don't think it'll take away from the mystique of Rickwood, that it will still have that historic nature that is so special when you walk into that stadium. Yeah, the first time, second time, and third time I went there, you could feel the spirit. Yeah. And maybe that's because I'm a steward of this story, but you could feel their spirits there. And you could kind of close your eyes and envision what it must have been like to be at a ball game at Rickwood Field and to see this exceptional talent take the field and do their thing there. And so it is always special. This game is going to be even more special because, again, it's so exciting. But that history that was made at Rickwood is something that is a prominent and impertinent part of the story that we document at the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum.
Boy, Bob Kendrick with us. What a pleasure talking some ball with Bob. The scene on a Sunday in Birmingham, and I've read about this stuff, and you can explain it, leaving church early to make sure you could get a seat, and what it was like, an electric atmosphere when the Black Barons played. Tell us about it.
Oh, man, it's the same thing that we say in Kansas City, Birmingham, the same thing. They looking at the Reverend like, okay, Rev, you got to wrap this up, man. And more times than not, black churches would move their Sunday service up an hour so fans could get to the game. So typical 11 o'clock meeting service was moved to 10 o'clock. And everybody filed out going to the ballpark, dressed to the nines, looking good. So the pageantry of a Negro Leagues game. I tell people all the time, there was nothing recreational about a Negro Leagues game. Yeah. It was the social event of the week. And so you went to see and you went to be seen. And the Barons, the Black Barons, were the toast of the town. And it was even more special in the African-American community because it was ours. Yeah, it was ours. And like I said, they were outdrawing the Barons.
Boy, it's an incredible period of history. The other thing that I read about was when the Black Barons would play, there would be a special section for the whites to sit. Yeah. Yeah. And, of course, when the white Barons played, the blacks had to be in the section as well. But they did that with the white people as well. And the town was so segregated. We talk about Bull Connor in a second. But they wouldn't even let them dress in the dressing rooms. They had to dress underneath the stands because of the segregation. That's something that we should understand about Rickwood Field, too.
Well, and it wasn't just Rickwood Field. Rickwood was no different than a lot of other places in which these players had to play. And I think that's the thing that I want people to realize, that the social challenges that these athletes had were tremendous. And yet they would not allow those social circumstances to kill their love of the game. So you just talked about the fact that they couldn't use the facilities. They dressed underneath the bleachers. Right. I mean, I want people to hear what you just said. Yeah. They dressed underneath the bleachers. They couldn't take a shower. They couldn't even wash their uniforms. And yet they wanted to play. And you weren't going to deny them an opportunity to pursue our nation's pastime. And the fans were always going to be treated to a show regardless of the challenges that they may have had as they were traveling the highways and byways of this country. So it wasn't just Rickwood. This was virtually every ballpark that they played in, unless it was owned by a Negro Leagues team, and there was only a handful of Negro League owners that ultimately had their own stadium. By and large, they were renting the ballpark from those white professional teams, particularly the major league teams, which is one of the reasons that it took so long for integration, because the major league teams were making money from the Negro Leagues. So they were getting, Rick Woodward was getting a percentage of the gate and likely all of the concessions when the Black Barons played there. And the irony of it is, you're right, they had an isolated section for white folks in the ballpark because the black folks filled up the rest of the ballpark.
What a story. I love baseball. I love talking to Bob Kendrick. It's just an honor to have you on the show. The other thing I tell people, these games, these men tried to win. They played hard. When Willie Mays learned how to play from Piper Davis, or Willie got knocked down and Piper said, you get up and get on base and steal 2 bases and you'll show him. They played to win. This wasn't a joke. They played to win, and that's how good they were. And that's, I think, what we're seeing here at Rickwood and the celebration of the Negro Leagues.
And really, if you talk to the Negro League players, that's what you wanted to know. Yeah. They wanted you to know this. They played the game hard, yes, and it was competitive. And so you were going to be entertained. You're going to see great, fundamentally sound baseball. They didn't cheat the game, and the fans, as a result, loved it. They were heroes in their own communities. And that's, that part of it, we don't want that to be lost either. I know a lot of times we want to focus on just the mere hardships, and the challenges were real. They were very real. We talked about it in our session earlier today when I had the opportunity to take the stage, amazingly, with Dr. Condoleezza Rice, and of course, Randy Wynn was our moderator. The hardships were real, but they wanted you to know about the joy that they had. Buck O'Neil, I think he's so summarized it so beautifully when people would say, well, it's a shame you didn't get the chance to play in the major leagues. And Buck would look at them, kind of acknowledge and shake his head. He said, don't feel sorry for me. Feel sorry for the people who didn't see me play. Yeah. They're the ones who missed out. And to a great extent, mainstream America missed some of the greatest talent to ever play this game. We should have seen them all play together. As a baseball fan, we were cheated because we should have seen all the great talent take the field with and against each other, and think about how much better our game would have been. Now, it got better after 1947. Yeah, it got better after 1947 when the doors cracked open and black and brown players moved into the major leagues. What have happened if it had opened sooner? Yeah. How much better would our game have been?
Yeah, just take a look at the National League in the 1950s and how the African-American and black player took over. And then Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Roberto Clemente, you go up and down. They took over baseball and showed how great they could play. Which leads us to one other area that I want to touch in with you, the statistics. We had Philip Lee on the show last week who wrote Black Stats Matter, wonderful book, and used the arguments of why the stats are important and why they're major league stats. Now we can quantify how great Josh Gibson was, how great Oscar Charleston was, how great Frank Grant was, Pete Hill, and people like that. So the stats are important, but my point to you is these stats are real. I don't care if you showed me 70 games or 170 games. That's how they played. They really did hit 460.
Exactly, and I know people will want to poke holes in the stats. They want to push this false narrative that the talent wasn't as good as it was in the white major leagues, and that's baloney. This talent was legitimate professional baseball talent. There were good players in the Negro Leagues. There were good players in the major leagues. There were great players in the Negro Leagues, just as there were great players in the major leagues. A good player in the Negro League would have been a good player in the major leagues if the doors had opened up and they'd had that opportunity. So, yeah, it's so interesting to see that narrative being pushed. Josh Gibson was a star. Josh Gibson, in my own belief, was the greatest baseball player to ever put on a baseball uniform, and now these numbers suggest that what I've been saying just might have been right. Yeah, when you look at his single season batting average record, he hit 372. 372. I'm sorry, for a lifetime batting average of 372, 460 plus for a single season, where he holds the record. I mean, but if you listen to Monty Irvin, or if you listen to Buck O'Neil, or you listen to some of those other players who are still with us before they passed on, they would have told you this. Yeah, this is not new. They were telling us this all the time, that Josh Gibson was the man, and now these numbers bear that out.
Well, just take a look at Griffith Stadium and see where he hit the ball over the center field wall at Griffith Stadium. You talk about Mickey Mantle, 565. This one probably was 665.
Well, Josh Gibson was hitting balls where no mere mortal ever hit them in Griffith Stadium, which was home to the great Homestead Grays. Clark Griffith, as you may recall, had tinkered with the notion of integration well before Branch Rickey. He was watching Gibson do these amazing things. He's watching Buck Leonard play a dazzling first base and rip line drives all over his ballpark. And he knew that if he signed those two guys, the Washington Senators moved to the forefront of contention and could have easily won a pennant and likely would have gone to the World Series. But here's the conundrum that Clark Griffith had. He's also watching all these black folks fill up his ballpark. Yeah, the Homestead Grays were outdrawing the Washington Senators, and it wasn't even close. And he knew that if he bucked the system, number one, he's going to be ostracized by his peers. Number two, do I dare risk losing this money? Yeah, I didn't want to risk losing this money, so he backs off. And, of course, a few years later, Rickey makes the move to go get Jackie Robinson.
Boy, you and I could talk ball for a long time. It's really pretty good. I appreciate having you on. I'll see you in Rickwood. I'll see you in Birmingham, and we got more to talk about. But, Bob Kendrick, you're a credit to the game. You really are. You're a treasure, and I appreciate you being on. Thank you.
Man, it's always an honor to catch up with you. Thanks so much for having me on the show.
More coming up. KNBR 680, 104.5, the sports leader.
Talking baseball with Marty Laurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
If you're a fan of Original Joe's in San Francisco and Daly City, then you've got to try the newest addition to the group, Little Original Joe's. Brought to you by the Dugan family, this takeout-only restaurant features pizza, pasta, and parmigiana and is located at 15th and West Portal Avenues in San Francisco. Although the highlight is the pizza, where do you try that crust? Little Original Joe's also offers locally sourced rotisserie chicken, Strauss Family Soft Serve, a variety of local and imported wine and beer, and a beautiful retail marketplace. The Little Original Joe's Market is stocked with local, regional, and Italian specialty goods, as well as favorite Joe's staples like the ready-made salads, pastas, sauces, and entrees for you to take, bake, and enjoy at home. I love the lasagna. Check it out. Little Original Joe's, open daily from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. for takeout and counter service in West Portal in San Francisco.
Giants fans, there's no better way to set the game day table than talking baseball with Marty Laurie. Marty keeps rolling on KNBR, the sports leader.
All right, great to have you back with us. By the way, Little Original Joe's is now open in the marina as well. How about that?
Gorgeous, Marty.
Yeah, I have to go by there. Boy, John Dugan, the Dugan family, you couldn't thank him enough for everything they do for us. And, boy, they have got it together. All right, Joe Sheehan joins us. JoeSheehan.com, the best baseball newsletter out there. Joe, how are you?
Good. You know, Little Original Joe's is what I was going to call the newsletter, so glad somebody else took that.
I like that. That's very good. All right. Hey, you're having a heck of a week on your gaming newsletter. I want to tell you something. You're hot.
Yeah, it's after hitting rock bottom 2 weeks ago. I've had a pretty decent run here. It was 19-5 through Friday. Went 4-3 yesterday. Just it's a lot easier to do the work, obviously, when you're winning. Last year, I had a very terrible year. It was hard to sit down every day and do the work, but trying to keep up with it this year. People are enjoying it. We've got about 500 people now getting the gaming newsletter, so I'm excited about that.
So how does one get the gaming newsletter? This is worth it, and it's a lot of fun to follow your reasoning every day. I like that.
So it's not sold separately. I feel like that's a TV ad, right? That's the infomercial. Battery's not sold separate. Battery's sold separately. But no, it's an adjunct to the main newsletter feed. So if you subscribe to the newsletter, it's a free option with the newsletter. So go to JoeSheehan.com for more information about that.
All right, terrific. Let's talk Giants. Look, they had so many comeback wins since the last time we talked. Then all of a sudden they took a couple from the Phillies, and the Yankees have come in here with a dose of reality. Let's talk Giants baseball with you.
I think this is what they are. You know, at the start of the year, they looked like they were going to be a 500 team, maybe a little bit better. Some concerns about, what would they get from Blake Snell this year? They've gotten nothing from him. What would Jordan Hicks turn into? He's actually been a stable starter for them. They weren't a good enough team to fade a lot of injuries, and that's what we've seen, of course, so far. Just injuries up and down the lineup. The Lamonte Wade injury is incredibly difficult for them because he was the one true source of OBP in that lineup. Patrick Bailey's been all right, Conforto's been out, but Wade was running a 470 OBP, and they just can't afford to miss that. So that's going to hurt them a lot. The bullpen's been a mixed bag. I know you were texting me about the rookie Rodriguez. You're pretty excited about him. He's been effective in his time up. But, again, you're looking at a flawed team that is trying to be part of this mix and get into the playoffs with 83, 84 wins.
Hey, Joe, it's Sandra G here. How you doing?
Good, Sandra.
Good. So I just want to see what are you seeing from the Giants, like the starting pitching staff? We've got Blake Snell that's going to be out here today. We had Jordan Hicks who's making his conversion over to a starting pitcher. But overall, encompassing, what are you seeing from the Giants starting pitchers?
I think it's an above-average staff. I mean, I'm a huge Logan Webb fan. I had concerns about Jordan Hicks coming into the season, but he's not just been the 3 to 4 inning starter that he was with the Cardinals. He's adopted. He's thrown more strikes. He's got a ton of ground balls. He's changed his pitch mix. The concern, of course, is going to be how far into the season he's going to be able to hold this up. But the effectiveness has been there. Kyle Harrison, it feels like we're not talking a lot about him, but he's throwing so many more strikes than he did as a prospect, even last year at AAA. He's been giving them, pitching into the 5th, 6th inning in a lot of starts. So they're getting, I think, more from those top 3 guys than you would have expected. Keaton Winn was an asset before he got hurt, and obviously the Snell situation hurts because you signed him late. You figure he's going to push a lot of questionable number 5 starters down. And, of course, he's just been a disaster through 5 starts. They've got to get him going. And, of course, he's going to be important as the year goes on because they are going to eventually have to manage the innings of Harrison and Hicks. So he's a really important player for this team.
Well, Snell goes today against the Yankees. Last week, when you were on with us 2 weeks ago, you talked about the lack of offense in Major League Baseball, batting average, on base, slugging, and things like that. Has it turned around? I know, as I said, weather gets warmer, pitchers get a little more tired, more offense. Have we seen an uptick at all in the offense?
No, in fact, May was one of the lowest OBP months since the mound was moved, since the mound was lowered and the strike zone was fixed in 1969, and the lowest OBP in May basically since the 2 dead ball errors. So it's not strikeouts and walks. We talk a lot about strikeout rate. I've been talking about strikeout rate for a decade. Strikeout rate's been stable since we went to the full-time DH in 2022. Strikeout rate and walk rate's been pretty stable. It's the ball. The ball is not carrying. If you look at every possible measure of batted ball information, extra base hits on contact, home runs on contact, how far the ball is flying, which we can measure through StatCast, it all comes back to the baseball isn't flying as far as it did in recent years. So whether that changes or not, that's changed in midseason before. We saw it in 2015. We went from a pitcher's year to a hitter's year at the All-Star break. So maybe that'll change, but it does seem like the interaction between the humidors, which are in all parks right now, and the baseball itself is changing the nature of the game. So it's very hard to produce offense when the ball won't fly.
How come the Yankees haven't gotten the memo?
Well, when you have Aaron Judge and Juan Soto, you kind of get to break the rules. I was actually writing about Judge today. He got off to that terrible start. It seemed like he was pressing a bit. He had some, Marty, the concept of lineup protection has been something that's been argued about for years, and I'm certainly on the stat hit side that says it doesn't exist. But when you have a hitter as good as Judge, at the extremes, or you go back to Barry Bonds' years with the Giants, and you may actually need to put a better hitter behind him. And when Aaron Boone elevated Alex Verdugo to the number 4 spot behind Judge, Judge's season took off. Judge started seeing a lot more strikes, and of course, if you throw Aaron Judge strikes, you know the damage he can do with them. He's hit 3 homers against you guys the last 2 days. So I do think this is a case. Protection is a myth, but there's an exception to every rule, and I wonder if Aaron Judge is so good that he does need to have a really good hitter behind him.
Boy, we'll see today. He gets Blake Snell today, so we'll see what happens there. Joe Sheen is with us. As I know, every couple of weeks we talk baseball with Joe. Atlanta, they have so many injuries. They've got their 24 losses. The Padres have 29. The Giants have 30. Giants and the Cubs kind of hanging in for that 6th spot right now. The Padres kind of separating a little bit from the Giants. I know they're hitting the heck out of the ball. Arise has gone wild. Darvish is on the DL. Musgrove's on the DL. What do you see with the Padres? I'm starting to look at them a little more carefully.
Yeah, this is the offense we thought they'd have last year, right? And, of course, now they've added Luis Arias to it. They've been a very good offensive team since they got him. Get that high OBP. Remember, Arias is just a singles hitter, but singles count too. And when you're hitting 340, you're going to have that high OBP. You're going to have more runners on base for Machado and Cronenworth, who's had a very strong year so far. Jurickson Profar looking at comeback player of the year. So this looks a lot like the team we were going to see last year. You mentioned the pitching; they don't have a lot of upper levels depth. So losing a Musgrove, losing a Darvish is a real problem for them. They're pretty much run out of prospects to trade for pitching as well. I mean, they were able to trade some lower level guys for Arias, but they're not going to be able to fix this externally. So that's the concern with the Padres. They may have to win a lot of 6-5 and 7-6 games. Robert Suarez, though, has been an ace for them at the back end. So if they can get a 6-5 lead going into the 9th, he really helps close them down.
Boy, now this week we get Arizona for 3 and then Texas. Let's talk Arizona and Texas a little bit.
Yeah, 2 teams that, we talked a lot about them, Marty. The injuries to the starting rotations have meant that neither team has been operating at its front end. The Diamondbacks signed Eduardo Rodriguez. He hasn't pitched for them yet. I thought that was one of the better signings of the winter, but he's been out with a shoulder issue. Zach Gallen's on the IL for them now. Merrill Kelly had missed some time. Over with the Rangers, you've got obviously DeGrom, Scherzer, Tyler Mahle. They're waiting to get all these guys back. So neither one of these teams has really been able to show what they can do. The Diamondbacks, of course, one of the worst teams in baseball against right-handed pitching as well. They crushed lefties. They beat up Sean Manaea yesterday in the Bronx, but they haven't been able to do anything against righties. A big part of that is Corbin Carroll, who's followed up a fantastic rookie season by being there's no way around it, Marty. He's just been a bad player this year. So whether it's a shoulder problem, we saw him have a couple shoulder issues last year, or he's just lost the thread, missing him at the top of the lineup, he's actually been at one point they dropped him in the lineup a bit, but losing that key hitter has really changed their lineup against right-handers. I think the Diamondbacks are going to still be in that mix with the other 500 teams. They'll get Gallen back. They'll get Rodriguez back. That'll strengthen the rotation. We know Torey Lovullo is very good at building a bullpen out of nothing. We know Mike Hazen is very good at being aggressive at the trade deadline. So I think the Diamondbacks will be in that mix. The Rangers, again, I don't think you can judge them until you actually see their true starting rotation. They're only paying DeGrom and Scherzer about $35 million. No, they're paying full freight for DeGrom and about half of Scherzer's price, but they haven't gotten a start from those guys this year. So until those guys get into the rotation, it's hard to judge them. It's very much a situation, Marty, where the Rangers could just hang around for 4 months, and then down the stretch, when you've got DeGrom and Scherzer taking 40% of the starts, go nuts and steal that division.
Wow. Okay. Oh, good analysis. During the week, I think we had one day where we had like 7 shutouts. This Ben Brown is pitching today for the Cubs. He was fabulous. What he did, I think it was against the Brewers. He almost pitched a no-hitter. They took him out after 7 innings. But there was that one day, wasn't there, where, like everybody was throwing a shutout?
It feels like every day in May was like that. And that, again, goes to the lower run environment. It's going to make things like shutouts and no-hit bids. It feels like every day we're getting a no-hit bid, right? Was it Joe Ryan yesterday, I think, took a no-hitter into the 5th? No, it wasn't Ryan. It was basically every day somebody's got a no-hit bid. And again, it goes to the league is hitting 240. And when you're hitting 240, you're going to have, it's more likely that you're going to have a shutout. You're going to have a no-hit bid. It's just a function of the overall league environment. Even in hitters' parks now, you're getting this. I mean, the Rockies just had a homestand where they scored a fair amount of runs. But up to that, even Coors Field was playing a bit like a pitcher's park. The use of the humidors in all of the parks has narrowed the range of what we call hitters and pitchers parks. It's also taken the seasonality out of the game. Last 2 years, Marty, we've seen, normally you'd see, you mentioned it, right? The ball will fly worse in April, start to fly better in May, and then June, July, August, and then fly worse in September. That seasonality has been taken out of the game the last couple of years by the use of the humidors. So you don't get that big summer explosion in offense.
Boy, I count on that. You count on that for this. Pitchers get tired. There's that rhythm of the season that you feel. Well, we'll see where it goes. But one last thought for you. The Brewers, I guess they're for real. Boy, they hit the ball. That's one of the teams that made. And look at Yelich, what he's doing. Giants have not seen the Brewers yet. This crazy quirk of schedules. Giants have only seen 3 teams in the American League so far, all out of the American League East. So what about the Brewers?
Yeah, I'm shocked by the offense. I have to tell you, Marty, I thought that was going to be a problem for them, and especially since they lost so much pitching in the offseason. But you look at the young players. Joey Ortiz, who they traded Burns for, he's been fantastic. Bryce Turang, the infielder, he's been very good. Sal Frelick, who's a plus defensive center fielder, has basically been a league average hitter. So they've gotten the young guys together. And then you mentioned the superstars, right? Christian Yelich had the back issues, but when he's been playing, he's been fantastic. He looks like peak Christian Yelich. Willie Adames, Wilson Contreras. At the start of the year, we thought these guys would be trade bait by midseason because they wouldn't be contending. They signed Rhys Hoskins. Rhys Hoskins has been fantastic in and around the knee injury. So, yeah, everything has gone right for them offensively. Do I think they can keep it up? And the pitching staff, you got guys like Colin Ray and Joe Ross, who have really been, for lack of a better term, waiver bait the last few years, pitching well for them. I am still saying the Cubs win that division, but with each passing day, you've got to take the Brewers more seriously.
Yeah, the Cubs don't hit too much. They haven't hit all week. Boy, great to have you on. I'll give you a scoop here. Alex Cobb is throwing on flat ground from about 60, 70 feet in the outfield. So maybe
I'm not getting baited into that again. I've been believing in Alex Cobb for too long. I believe it when I see him make 3 starts in a row.
Look, he's even smiling. No, I'm only kidding. All right. Hey, Joe, great to have you with us. We'll catch up with you in a couple of weeks. And we really enjoy the newsletter, and good luck on the gaming. You're hot, so keep it going.
Thanks, Marty. Thanks, Sandra.
Thanks, Joe.
All right, be well. That is Joe Sheen. Very good. I always enjoy.
Yeah.
There's a sense of putting everything together with him.
Right.
Is Kerry available? Kerry, you there?
Oh, Marty, I'm here.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
All right.
Fresh off of having an entire butter cake to myself last night.
Oh, my goodness.
All right. I almost went for the cheesecake the other night. Oh, I saw you. Come on. I saw you down. Come on. I saw you and Danny Emmerman and Adam Copeland outside Tony's Pizza Place.
Yeah, getting our slices on Thursday night after Sports Phone KNBR. We rolled up there, got our slices, and I told you, just wait. Saturday night, Original Joe's, there's a butter cake with my name on it, and that's why I was a little slow this morning to the microphone, Marty, because I'm still processing all that delicious food.
Yeah, Little Joe's in the Marinas opened up, and I heard that's going great. Opened up Friday night.
I stopped in there yesterday. Yeah, Christian
did you go
from Westlake is running the place. They're all happy. It's a beautiful spot down there on Chestnut. I mean, my goodness, it's right around the corner from where I used to live. So I'm a little jealous of the folks in the neighborhood right now.
Oh, what'd you have?
Well, I had my charbroiled cheeseburger. Nothing better. Nothing better. Okay. I think it's the best cheeseburger in the city. So other people will say Sam's. Other people will disagree with me, but I think the original Joe's cheeseburger on the sourdough bread is as good as it gets.
All right. Very good. Now you get me hungry. I've got Noah's graduation today at 2 o'clock. I've got to eat before that. But this is going to be fun. This is a fun weekend. I know the Yankees are taking the Giants apart, and Judge is doing this and that. And, look, the Giants are depleted right now. And they just have to hang in there until the troops come back, especially the pitching. But it has been an entertaining series, I must tell you.
Yeah, I'll say this. It's not boring to watch Aaron Judge play baseball. I mean, I know that Giants fans 2 winters ago really wanted him to sign in San Francisco, and I don't know how realistic that thought ever was, but it's not as if this ballpark is containing his power. It's a right-handed Bonzian-esque blast, and the one off of Logan Webb last night. I mean, my goodness, it is really, really fun to see an outfield of him, of Soto. Verdugo played well last night. You never want to say, oh, you come to the ballpark to watch your opponent, but I agree with Andy Bagley's tweet the other day when he said, John Fisher may have been onto something in his Sacramento comments up there when he said that the fans here are going to enjoy watching Aaron Judge home runs.
Oh, geez, yeah, that's gonna be something to see for sure. Hey, Kerry, what do you think we're gonna see from Blake Snell today? Do you think this is gonna be a different start than what we've seen from him the last couple outings?
Well, you'd sure like to think so, Sandra, but I don't think it's going to be different for Blake Snell until he gets that fastball command down. I think that's been the one thing that's been really hampering him, because his entire deal as a starting pitcher is getting hitters to expand the strike zone when he throws the fastball in the strike zone. It's throw that changeup below the zone. It's get swings on the curveball when it misses. And so far, hitters have just laid off this season because Snell hasn't been able to pound the zone with the fastball. And I think that this is a Yankees lineup that is going to be patient. It's proven that it can be one of the best in baseball. I'm looking up and down, and Juan Soto, 15 home runs. Aaron Judge, 21 home runs. Giancarlo Stanton, 14. I mean, the Giants they've got 3 players with 14 RBIs this season, and so it's just a completely different lineup, and it's a really tough task for Blake Snell. I think if he turns it around, maybe against the reigning World Series champion Texas Rangers next week, but Sandra, this is going to be really tough.
Yeah, and Kerry, last night the Yankees 2, 3, and 4 went 8 for 15.
And how about the Giants' first 5, 0 for 18?
Yeah, and so that heart of that lineup is really tough to get through.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that, Juan Soto will be interesting to see if he signs back in New York, because he's clearly loving his time in the Bronx. They're loving him in New York. He's going to be the premier free agent. It's a franchise that has always spent, and they've got, this fascinating thing, because Hal Steinbrenner has come out and said, we have to cut our spending next year. And I don't get it, because if they're winning as much as they're winning, if they, go to the World Series this year, which they very well could do out of the American League, how do you not bring Juan Soto back? So that's going to be really interesting. And then the flip side is, what are the Giants doing in the outfield right now? It's Elliot Ramos, who's starting in left field. You've got Tyler Fitzgerald in center field today, and then Luis Matos, who's really struggled ever since winning the National League Player of the Week award. And Matos is down to a 218 average, a 577 OPS. They're going to get Conforto back. They're going to get Slater back here soon. I wonder if they're going to keep Matos at the big league level, Marty.
Well, we'll see. He's got about another week to figure that out.
Yeah.
Ramos probably goes down to the minor leagues. Probably.
No, you're keeping Ramos. You're keeping Ramos.
I don't know. When Conforto comes back, I'm not sure what you're going to do there. They need some left-handed hitting. So we'll see there. But I'll give you this question. It's not to answer your question, it's not very simple. We've got to see, as Ken Maka said, the players write the lineup. So let's see what Ramos and Matos do over the next week. But I'll give you this one today. Who hits the next home run for the Giants? And they got Cortez on the hill today as a lefty. And Sandra's got the lineup here. It's all righties except for Wisely, right?
Yeah, so I'll just go through it real quick. It's Ramos leading off with Wisely and Flores, and then followed by Chapman in the cleanup spot with Soler, Matos, Schmidt, Fitzgerald, and Casale. So heavy righties.
Kerry Crowley, who hits the next home run for the Giants?
I'll say Wilmer Flores, number 2 on the season. It happens bottom of the first inning today, Marty. The question is, do they score more from there? Wilmer Flores off of Nestor Cortez. I like that matchup. You've got the lefty on the mound in Cortez, and Flores, who I think is really patient and can see through. He's got that good... He's got the really strong ability to just stay on his back foot against Nestor Cortez, who I think likes to mess with hitters' timing, and maybe his stuff isn't as good. But the stuff, I mean, hard to argue with a 3.3 ERA right now. So I'm going to take Flores in the first inning today, Sandra.
Sounds good, Kerry.
Chapman.
That was going to be my guess.
You can do it. I'm saying Chapman.
Mm-hmm.
You staying?
Yeah, I'm staying Chapman. I think Chapman too. But who I would really love to see would be Soler. So I said yesterday.
You and the Soler family and about 1 million Giant fans.
I just
would
want
like to
everybody
see that.
to give him the Trey Turner treatment and give him an ovation and just maybe shake off the funk. So we'll see what happens. But if you guys are listening, please give him an ovation today.
Sandra started this yesterday.
I really want to see it.
Soler ovation, standing ovation for Soler to get him out of the funk.
We need it.
Yeah, I'm too old school. I hated when Phillies fans did that for Trey Turner. I don't think Giants fans should do that. I think you give a guy an ovation when he hits a home run.
All right. All right. I'd like to see him hit something.
Yeah, that's true.
He's very important to get him going. He's very important. All right. Well, it's a pleasure to have you on today. How are the folks today? How's FX and Nancy?
Believe it or not, Marty, they're downstairs right now. I'm doing the show from their house today, so they're not just listening on the radio. They're listening live to every word of this.
Oh, fabulous. Raph, you there? Where's Raph?
Hey, Marty, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Raph. One of our folks who won some of our contests.
Yeah, Marty, super fan.
Yeah, tell us what happened, because one passed away, and I wanted to mention it.
Scott Williams, a good friend of Matt McFetridge, he passed away a couple weeks ago, and, you know, he was a big Giants fan, super into the team and everything, and they decided to scatter his ashes there in McCovey Cove, so that was something they did last weekend, and yeah, it's real touching, and, you know, I thought it'd be good to mention it. And, you know, Matt's a good friend of the show. He always calls in, and, you know, he's always putting in his guest for every game, even though we only do the contest on Sundays. So yeah, I thought we mentioned that. So
very good, Scott Williams. So I'm sure he's been to one of our dinners as well.
Yeah, no, he was at 2 of them with Matt.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's too bad. All right. Well, his ashes are out in McCovey Cove.
Right.
All right. Very good. Raph, thanks for bringing us up to date on that. All right. Tomorrow night at the Gotham Club, Sandra, you'll be there. I'm going to be there with Gary Mintz from the New York Giants Preservation Society. He's going to make a talk, and I'm going to sort of MC it and facilitate it. So if you're a member of the Gotham Club, tomorrow, a lot of fun to do that tomorrow night. Then Arizona. And, then we've got Rickwood coming up. So this is a good time of year for baseball. Giants need some wins, and that's the main thing. So, all right, we're going to turn this over to Kerry Crowley for our Giants warm-up. Back with you next Sunday as the Giant. Sandra's got it on the live stream. She's Raph, Kerry, she's got this bobblehead. She's playing with this thing all day. All day.
All right, Sandra?
Sandra's got, Have you seen this bobblehead, Kerry?
Is it the splash hit one?
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
Oh,
and
this
she's
is real
filled it up.
water cannons.
And
this is the coolest thing.
It's the most creative bobblehead or giveaway that I've ever seen.
Just don't do it near your
more.
laptop. Don't do it near your laptop.
Sorry, Marty.
Just do it near Marty's Comrex. That'll work.
Really,
Yeah,
seriously,
please, Sandra.
I'm moving away here. As you can see this on the
There's
live
a
stream.
splash zone, so.
I'm moving away. But we had
You've
fun.
been warned.
Sunday baseball, nothing better. All right, Kerry, take it away, and talk to you next week. Have a good week, everyone.
Seam heads, start cracking those peanuts and spitting those seeds, because gloves are soon to be popping.
He makes a headlong dive and makes the catch.
And bats are going to get cracking.
Blast one, deep right field, gone!
Welcome to KNBR's Giants Warm-Up.
Way back there, goodbye!
On the sports leader.
All right, it is time for Giants warm-up. I'm your host today, Kerry Crowley, getting you set for Giants baseball here on The Leader. Blake Snell against Nestor Cortez. Giants looking to salvage the third game of this three-game set against the New York Yankees team that has come